David here with Figboot on Pens, back again with a special announcement. Over the last few years, I have worked with several manufacturers to produce a number of limited edition fountain pen models. I have had some really great partners. My first couple of projects were with Leonardo. I did one with Franklin Christoph as well, but it has always been my goal to work with a variety of manufacturers. I made a list of folks that I would love to collaborate with, and today I get to check one of those companies off the list. And it was a company very high on that list, and that would be Visconti. We have been working on this pen since September of last year, so I am glad that the time has finally come to let you know the details about my latest collaboration, which will be going on sale June 22nd, just a few days after the release of this video. It's a pen I am very excited to share with you, and that would be the Visconti Voyager Del Mar. It's unlike any other Visconti Voyager you have seen. What I am going to do today is go over this unique and amazing custom pen with you. I am rather biased, but I feel it is amazing. Then I will let you know the details about the upcoming sale and how you could make one of these pens your very own. A couple of quick notes right off the top. This is a limited edition of 50 units, and more importantly, this is not a pre-sale. The pens, as you can see behind me, are in my possession and will ship out immediately after the sale. Well, maybe not immediately. Give me a day or two. You are looking at the only employee in the fulfillment and shipping department of Figboot Inc. So within a couple of days, but I am anxious to get these pens into your hands. Okay. Let's take a look at this vibrant offering, and in order to do so, please join me over here at camera 2. So here we have the box. I like that the limited edition number is here on the outside. The sleeve slides off, and then we have a standard Visconti box. Before I show you what's inside, it also comes with a little warranty card. And then also it comes with a very cool ID card. I think that this is pretty neat. It has the name of the pen as well as some details about the pen as well. And I like that it contains your serial number. I had mentioned that this was a limited edition of 50, but the numbers go up to 48. That's because there is also a 0 as well as a 00. And if we lift this off, here is a look at the pen. Let me go ahead and take it out of here. This is the Visconti Voyager Del Mar. The pen is made from palladium-plated brass and a custom Jonathan Brooks acrylic. It's very reminiscent of my very first collaboration with Leonardo. This is what that pen looks like, but you can see how the Visconti is slightly darker. I really like the material that we used here on this Leonardo, but I didn't want it to be an exact match to the Visconti. In regard to the name, I grew up in the San Diego area and I wanted the pen to be named after a city in the region. Del Mar isn't too far from where I grew up and I spent a lot of time there. It is a vibrant coastal community that has some amazing beaches, as well as the county fairgrounds and the famous Del Mar racetrack. In the Beach Boys song Surfing USA, the very first surfing location mentioned is Del Mar. And that's always fun when a popular song references something very close to where you live. There were a couple of other San Diego area beaches mentioned in that song. There was Swami's and La Jolla. Del Mar and La Jolla tend to be more crowded and like touristy, but Swami's was more of a local beach. I really didn't surf at Swami's that often. My favorite North County spots were Terramar and Ponto, mainly Terramar. It was a very small beach that mainly only surfers used. I had a 9-foot longboard that I surfed on, but I had a lot of good times in and around Del Mar area, and I thought it sounded nice for the name of a pen. Sometimes it's not easy coming up with a name for a product, but I was pleased with this one because it does have a personal tie for me. And that's one of my main goals about these projects. I want part of me in each of these pens. I don't ever want it to feel like I'm just slapping my name on a pen. I need to be involved in several production aspects in order to feel good about putting my name on something. And with this pen, I was able to work with both Visconti and Coles of London, their US distributor, to do just that. Okay, let's take a look at the parts and features of this pen. First of all, here on the finial, a Visconti, let me actually show you what another Visconti looks like. Maybe a newer one. No, all of I have is the older ones. But Visconti typically will have a coin with the company logo. This is their older coin. They have a different coin now with just the V on it. But you can see here on the Del Mar, we actually have my Figboot logo. Now, this particular coin is actually affixed. This does not utilize the Visconti My Pen system where this coin is magnetized and you could trade it out for different ones. I almost did a lacquer-filled colored coin. You can see right here what an example of that looks like. Even though I think that that filled coin looks really great, I felt that the non-filled one was better aesthetically suited for this pen. Plus, I was really pleased how that logo turned out. Then we have the clip. This is the traditional Visconti hinged clip, inspired by the Ponte Vecchio Bridge in Florence, Italy. Visconti has a couple of different clip designs. This one is laser engraved, and the other, like this one here, is a bit higher end and has raised lettering with a lacquer fill. I really like the pearlescence of that background lacquer. It adds a bit of life to the clip. I had considered having a turquoise fill, but it would have been a challenge to match the color of that fill to the resin, especially when there's slight variations in each of the resins. If the color didn't match perfectly, it would have bugged me. So I felt it was a better choice to go with the white. I am a big fan of these clips. I've mentioned this in many different reviews of Visconti pens, but you can't just simply insert this clip into a sleeve or pouch. You need to extend it slightly. And the best way to do that is with a simple pinch. Now, when you do that, the hinged clip extends and easily slides into materials of varying sizes. It can handle something rather thick. The cap angles up slightly. Both the cap and barrel are round, as opposed to like the squared circle shape of the Visconti Opera models. And then here at the end is a palladium plated band. On the standard Voyager model, it actually has Voyager engraved on the band here. That just wasn't my favorite look. So instead, we just have the Visconti V logos encircling the entire band. There is a minimal step down from the cap to the barrel, and then the barrel tapers down at an even rate of decline. I just really like this resin. There's really some variation in this material, but it's not an exorbitant amount. For example, here are what 12 pens look like, and you can see that there is some variation in these, but for the most part, they're fairly consistent. And I think those look pretty cool, all put together like that. Okay, then here at the end, there is another small band indicating the beginning of the vacuum piston knob. And on that band, there is the limited edition number of the pen. It says through 48, but if you recall, there's also a 0 and 00 to make this a limited edition of 50. The cap twists off with a quarter of a rotation. It utilizes Visconti's hook-safe capping system where you don't simply twist off the cap, you kind of give it a push and a twist. And like I said, the cap is removed with only a quarter rotation. If you do not have a Visconti in your collection, the capping and uncapping action is unique, and it takes a second to get used to, kind of like operating the clip, but once you have the hang of it, the necessary motions become second nature. It's things like this which help, for me, Visconti pens to feel not just like another pen. Once you have removed the cap, underneath we have a number 6 14-karat gold nib. Nibs will be available in either fine, medium, or broad. Since the pens are already in my possession, I am selling to an inventory. I've done my best to produce an appropriate split of nib sizes, but once a nib is showing sold out on my site, it will be completely sold out. And here's a look at the plastic feed. This section is a bit on the short side. It was important to me to have a resin section. There's several Visconti models with metal sections, and for me, those tend to not be my favorite. In regard to the section itself, this one is resin, and I do find that my grip rests on the hook-safe cap threads, but they are very large and blocky. They aren't sharp or uncomfortable at all. The pen is plenty long enough to use unposted. The cap does post, and if you have it on here correctly, there you go. And it does post securely, but with the abundance of metal in this cap, it is a bit on the hefty side, and I find it backweights the pen a bit. It's not too bad, but I prefer to use this pen unposted. As I mentioned previously, this is a vacuum filler. I have pictures of this. I don't want to do this right now because I have this inked, but what happens is you actually pull back the piston, you insert it into the bottled ink of your choosing, and then you press the knob down. When you hear the click, ink will be sucked up into the barrel. It's one of my favorite filling systems. Okay, now to the important details. The sale price for the Voyager model is basically, it's in line with the other Voyager models out there on the market. The MSRP is $850, but the sales price will be $795. Shipping will be $15 in the US and $25 internationally. To be honest, the cost of US shipping is just under $15 and international shipping is well above $25. So essentially I'm eating some of the internal shipping costs. But on my last project, I had international at $35, which was closer to the actual cost, but I felt that was a bit too much for folks to pay. So I would prefer to keep the shipping costs as low as possible. The pen will only be available to purchase through my website, figboot.com, and it will go on sale Saturday, June 22nd at 10 a.m. Eastern. Unfortunately, with this limited inventory, I am not guaranteeing any specific number or nib combination requests, though I might place an additional form when you place your order to let me know in a perfect scenario if there was a specific number you would like. There's no guarantee that I'll be able to grant the request, but I'll at least see what folks would like in a perfect world. You might get it, or if lots of people want a specific number, then you might not. In that case, I would most likely defer to who placed their order first. We'll see how that goes. While I have inspected each of these pens and they look fantastic, if there does happen to be any warranty issues, those will be handled through Coles of London, just like if you had purchased your pen through a traditional retailer. Okay, let's take a look at some size comparisons. You know what? Actually, let me go ahead and zoom in a little bit closer now. That's a little too close. Let's go ahead and take a look at some size comparisons. First off, with a few other Visconti models, this is a Davina, and that's the Davina Desert Springs. And then here is a Wall Street. And then here is a Homo sapiens. And just so we could see them all together, in regard to my other projects, first of all, we had this Leonardo Momento Zero, which actually really didn't have a name. It was just called Figboot on Pens. And then we had the Carolina Midnight, and this was the regular Momento Zero. And then we did another version of this pen, which with the Momento Zero Grande, which was the Carolina Midnight again. And then after that, we had the California Sunset, and this was a Franklin Christoph Model 66. And then if I could fit it in there, most recent, we had the Radius Blue Flame. I think that looks like a pretty nice group of pens. Okay, here we go with the writing sample. So we have the Visconti Voyager Del Mar. This is a medium 14 karat gold nib. And the ink I'm using, which I thought was a nice match, which is one of my favorite Visconti inks, which is Visconti Turquoise. This is what the ink looks like. It's a nice vibrant turquoise as compared to Omas turquoise, which is a little more muted. And then here is the Pineider turquoise, which is similar to the Omas in shade. this is what the bottle looks like. This is actually the old bottle. Visconti actually came out with some brand new bottles recently. And as you can see, I finished off this bottle. So when I inked up this pen, I used up the very last of my turquoise ink. So I actually had to order one of the new bottles. So we'll see what that looks like when it arrives. But I've enjoyed this ink. And as you can see by this empty bottle, it's something I've used a lot. Okay, and here we go with the rest of the writing sample. This 14 karat gold nib is very nice. That it's not glossy smooth or glassy smooth. It does have a little bit of feedback to it, but I find that it's very good feedback and something that I enjoy. The ink flow is rather generous on this medium nib. Reverse writing is very well done. It's very smooth and actually lays down a nice medium line. In regard to some fast writing, the feed keeps up very well. Okay, so there you have the Visconti Voyager Del Mar. I am very pleased with how this pen turned out, and I can't wait to find these pens happy homes. And I look forward to seeing the new owners excited about them as well. If you have any questions regarding the sale, feel free to leave a comment below or reach out via email. My contact information is in the notes below. And I will have information on my website as well. Again, the sale will be on June 22nd at 10 a.m. Eastern. And I hope that if you would like one of these pens, that you will be able to pick one up. Until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.